Special thanks to all our patrons who support the show every single week. Patrons, you keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going, and we're so grateful for all the support you give and the community that you've helped us to build. Not a patron yet? Join us today. Head over to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast or buymeacoffee.com/runeatdrinkpod and subscribe for bonus content, social media shoutouts, and much more. Help support our show by using our Amazon affiliate link anytime you shop on Amazon for running gear, food, beverages, or anything else the little gray trucks might bring your way. Just use runeatdrink.net/Amazon anytime you shop. There's no additional cost. It's just one bonus click to help us keep the lights on and the bandwidth flowing. Go to runeatdrink.net/Amazon. And we thank you for your support.
Hi everyone, it's Mevka Flesgehi, the Boston Marathon, New York City Marathon champion and Olympic silver medalist, and you are listening to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country. And after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Hey, welcome to episode 304 of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast, or as my father, the math professor, would have said, episode 304 with no and. I'm your host, Aimee.
And I'm your co-host, Dana. I didn't know there was a right way and a wrong way to say that.
304. Welcome to episode 304.
Topping 300. That's amazing.
We did.
Feels like it's been a minute since I've been here.
We did. And shout out to Eric and Jesse who helped us do that.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
How's things?
My day job is keeping me very busy.
Incredibly.
So, yeah, there's been a lot of between personal travel, day job, work travel upcoming, and all that. It's going to be a little hit or miss, but glad to be here.
I'll be here.
You'll be here.
I'll be here. So if you can just put up with me, if you can put up with just me.
I know what you mean. They know what you mean. Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast, everybody. We're tell you all the great places to accomplish, explore, and indulge. And we're super excited for this week because it's a bit of a first run back for you.
Yes.
After some time.
Yes.
And I'm excited to hear all about that. And I know we have great food and beverage to talk about as well.
Because you had some.
I did. I skipped the running part this week and went right to the eating and drinking.
We have a lot of listeners that do that. They have
I'm here for you.
Those bumper stickers that say 00.
Yeah.
There's no shame in that.
No.
Your thing might be weightlifting. Your thing might be yoga. Your thing might be Pilates or dance.
Or whatever. In my particular instance, it's been, I have still, to give everybody just a little bit of an update.
Let's go into updates, yes.
My left Achilles still is angry, and I have all but stopped running.
Yes, you have.
I do cardio.
Define cardio.
Elliptical. So there's still movement in the Achilles tendon there.
That doesn't make it worse.
It doesn't seem to be helping it much. But so I'm still getting my cardio in. I'm not doing impact like running, and then I'm focusing more on weight training right now.
Yes.
So it's good. I'm getting my fitness goals or achieving my fitness goals, working towards them. But yeah, that Achilles still hurts. And this is the insertional Achilles tendonitis, where the Achilles goes into the heel bone down. And that right there where it's at, the doctor said they can't do a shot because it can cause it to rupture.
That's nice.
So it's basically like,
fun.
Yeah, this will get better, quote unquote, with time. Rest it. Okay. We're probably pushing a year now where it's not.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think the last time that you ran a race would have been Disneyland Half.
Yeah.
Which was January 2024. Yeah. But we're just glad to have you here because food and beverage, and I miss my co-host.
Well,
so
I hope that I bring something to the table. It won't be any running this week, but you've got that covered.
I do.
But you've also got some other things covered. Shout outs.
I do. Let's talk about shout outs. I mentioned Jesse and Eric at the top, saying that they are the ones who have been so helpful in getting us going again after our hiatus. And we appreciate everybody in the Runcation Nation. Just to say thank you for your patience and for your support.
Yeah, that's been absolutely not something that's easy to quantify or really even easy to talk about. And heaven knows you guys have been there for us over the years with deaths in the family and illnesses and things like that. And we can't thank you enough.
Yes.
So it's hard when it takes us away from doing the show.
Because we love it.
And we know that you guys, especially those of you who are subscribers on Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee, we know we owe you some content, and we appreciate to the ends of the earth the fact that you're still there with us.
Yeah.
Your trust will not be misplaced. So thank you.
And congratulations to Jesse, Eric, and his daughter Brooklyn for completing the Donut Dash in Cape Coral to benefit the Cape Coral Police Department Police Athletic League.
Yeah.
PAL.
That's our PAL program at the Cape Coral PD. It's a fantastic program. We have just tons of kids that are getting connected with youth sports activities. This is just a phenomenal way to channel kids or funnel kids into really rewarding programs that can build skills for them that they can take with them later in life.
So good.
That can keep kids out of trouble. Not that every kid involved in PAL is an at-risk youth by any stretch, but it's a great way to help ensure that doesn't happen and connect with officers within the department. So we have one officer who's full-time assigned to the Police Athletic League. And that person is a coordinator. He used to coordinate a youth program with the New York Knicks.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he's really good at what he does, and he's grown the program. But we have officers throughout the department that coach football or soccer. Or I think the most recent thing that we've got coming up is going to be an archery program.
Archery? Really? Whoa.
It's really neat. And
is that connected to a school, or is it independent of that, like more a community thing?
I don't think that it's connected to a school, but they may be doing it at a school, like for the location.
The facilities and equipment. And
exactly.
Yeah.
There used to be, like years and years ago here in Florida, there were archery programs. Archery was offered as a PE. I don't think many schools do that anymore.
No. The last time I saw that offered at a school, it was in a fictional movie that was based on a Shakespeare play called Taming of the Shrew, except for it was modernized in the 90s called 10 Things I Hate About You, where they were practicing archery on the football field.
Yes, that's a movie, but they used to legitimately offer archery as a PE.
Well, but I think that in the Police Athletic League, you also it's teaching all of the teenagers who are involved in that program life skills that pay off down the road.
Oh yeah, concepts of sportsmanship and fair play and teamwork, I think, are
collaboration, support,
incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
So it's a phenomenal program. I'm really glad that we had some people here locally that we knew.
Did you see the medal?
Do it. Yeah.
It's like a donut with a police flag.
It's cute.
It's so adorable.
Yeah, they did a great job.
And speaking of adorable, when Eric and Jesse had their 2 episodes here back to back recapping the Big Beach Marathon weekend, we had Miss Brooklyn introduce the show, and she, in her second 5K at this event, won first in her age group.
Oh, that's fantastic.
First in her age group. Look at her go. Applause to you, Brooklyn. And thanks for introducing the show over the last couple of episodes. You've been great. So cute. So cute.
If you want a shout out for you or someone else you love on the show, email us at info@runeatdrink.net. That's info@runeatdrink.net. Or
you can call us It's old school. It's not. 941-677-2733. Leave us a message, or you can text that number too, but we would really love to play your voice on the show. Give a shout out for yourself or for someone you know in the Runcation Nation. Celebrate an accomplishment.
Exactly. So let's talk running.
Let's talk running. St. Patrick's Day was on a Monday this year. Just no.
Yeah, that shouldn't be allowed.
Just the answer is no.
I don't think that serves anybody very well. Like those that are going to go out and revel are going to go out and revel on Saturday or Sunday.
Saturday, pretty much, so that you can recover.
Chances are really good they're not coming into work on Monday. So we should move. That should be moved till it should always be like
the third Saturday in March or something.
Friday or Saturday.
I don't know. Is there some kind of historical thing that it has to be on the 17th for some reason? I'm sure. History major. Anyway.
I don't remember.
If anybody knows, you can info at runeatdrink.net or 941-677-2733. But so there were some delayed St. Patrick's Day runs. And when I was looking around here, because I'm still e-coaching with Jeff Galloway, his coach, and he is helping me slowly return to a training regimen after some time off. And while my knee is just being special and not cooperating.
And by special, we mean it doesn't have any cartilage. But other than that, it's great.
Just the outside of my left knee is going, you don't need to walk today. What is that? It's no. So it says no. But Jeff says, yes, you can. And hooray for endorphins and for taking it slow as you ramp back up. So I was... This whole last, 2 weeks, I was doing like 5-minute walks, and then I would stop and get some water and for a couple minutes off, and then do 5 minutes on. And so I looked for an event that would have a long time limit and would have several different distances so I could opt for one that I felt good and comfortable with.
This is a technique that we've used in many races over the years.
True.
The Donna Marathon Weekend does this. The Southernmost Half Marathon and the Key West Half both do this.
Love that, yeah.
So you'll have the 5K distance, the 10K, the half, and the full all running simultaneously.
Yes.
And because logistics are what they are and they have to keep race courses closed, it tends to give you a lot of extra cushion on the shorter distances because they've got to be open for the full marathon or the half that they're doing.
So this one was called the Time To Paddy 5K, 10K, and Lucky 13.1.
PADDY.
PADDY.
Okay.
And they actually also had a kids dash and a 1 miler.
Oh, nice.
Even though that's not really advertised on. We'll link to it in the show notes in case anybody is vacationing down here. We know we have a lot of people who escape the winter and come.
We do.
Or
they've been known to come and hang out.
Or spring break it. Break it. So
now this race was in Punta Gorda, Florida. So that for us, that's about 40 minutes up the road.
Yeah.
It's not a bad drive. There's an
airport.
There is a small airport there. Actually, Allegiant Airlines flies out of there. Not a sponsor of the show.
But they could be.
They absolutely could be.
Yeah.
And they have, their airport hub is there. Allegiant's got ridiculously cheap flights. Like
to lots of different places.
Like good places. Mm-hmm. And Punta Gorda Airport, number one, everybody who flies in and out of it loves it. Number two, it's a short drive from there, either down here to the Cape Coral, Fort Myers area, Naples, or if you're going to go north, you're 45 minutes from Sarasota.
That's good.
Ish.
Yeah.
So it puts you in a good location, and you can usually get an Allegiant one way for $40.
That is so
inexpensive.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the joke is that you might have to get out and push the airplane to get it to take off. But no, in all seriousness, they do use an older fleet of planes. But one interesting thing in that area in Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, Allegiant has purchased and built a beautiful resort called the Sunseeker, and you can get very reasonable rates to stay at a 4-star resort.
Ooh.
So you could literally come down, fly into Punta Gorda, stay at the Sunseeker for under $200 a day if you're wanting to have a nice Southwest Florida vacation. And if that was the case,
I'm looking at their pools. They're awesome.
Their pools, they have one down on the ground and one up on the roof.
What? The rooms look amazing.
So
I'm just saying. Anyway.
Anyway.
I digress.
We'll put links in the show notes to check that out if you're looking to come to Southwest Florida. But the main thing is you found this race.
I did.
I didn't even know you were doing a race. Like you got up at the crack of early.
I did.
On a Saturday. I'm like, what are you doing? You're like, I got a 5K to run. Okay.
Usually when I get up that early, you think I'm working my day job. But no, I was headed to Punta Gorda to do a 9 a.m. start.
Oh, it's a little later of a start than...
Yeah, which was okay because we were having beautiful weather.
Yes.
If we had a bell that wouldn't
in 2
scare
months, that would suck.
Buck, we would ring it. But it was at South County Regional Park, which is in Punta Gorda, and it is a sports complex.
Yeah, it sounded like you had a multi-use park there with pickleball,
tennis courts, baseball fields. There were pools there, and then there are long sidewalks around these facilities. There are bodies of water where people can sail their little boats, and it was like a huge pickleball Saturday, and
pickleball's gotten so huge down here,
and everybody's going to come out and set their little boats in the water and just sail them. But and packet pickup was available the morning of.
Okay.
And it was so super smart to have it in this enclosed kind of regional park because they only had to have maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 total police officers manning the course.
For the whole course. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's a huge cost for any race. When you see police on the course doing traffic control, that's very expensive.
Yeah.
Good for them.
And they also, in the registration, it was, I don't know, maybe it was because I registered so late, it was maybe $40. But what was really good was because I registered the day before.
Okay.
When I found it. But they had registration options that said, come volunteer before the race and you can get into all the events for $15.
Oh, that's nice.
If you come during packet pickup between 7:30 and the race start, which was 8:55 for the kids dash, which they did before all the longer events. Okay. And it was, so I thought that was unique. And I loved that it was inside this regional park so that you had those baseball fields, which had indoor facilities. So you didn't have to go through renting a porta potties or
nice
portalettes or that kind of thing that they were there. Now how many people were there? Hundreds or thousands? Hundreds.
Okay.
Hundreds. So it was a smaller kind of event. And the course was, the 5K course was an out and back. And then the 10K was you do it twice. And then the half was you do it 4 times. Okay. So I get that it's a regional kind of course.
It's a small local.
It's a small local, and there wasn't there's going to be DJs at every mile and beer stops or that kind of.
It's more of a park run.
Yeah, it's more of a park run, but at the same time, they had the water stop halfway in the 5K, and then the turnaround for the 10K and the half were just they had different color cones set up so you know when to turn around.
Gotcha.
And they had the yellow placards with the red arrows to show where everybody needed to go. And basically, it was straight and flat, part sidewalk, part asphalt.
I was going to say all paved?
Yeah. No trail running.
That's good.
No trail running. They did the kids dash at 8:55, And then, which I thought was different because normally we see kids races after the big races are over, but it was the reverse this time. And then we all took off at the same time, and they didn't have corrals because it was more of a park run. They just said, just line up according to your pace. And if you're slower, start at the back. I didn't see too many. There were a few moms and kids and dads and kids, not too many strollers. There were people walking dogs apart from the race, not registered for the race, that were on the path.
Okay.
With their dogs. Adorable.
So you would have an opportunity to run into the dogs, but you didn't see many runners with dogs. Gotcha.
And I believe that there were a couple of assisted runners that were like deaf runners or hearing impaired, which was awesome to see. Like they're going 2 by 2, and people of all sorts of ability or physical levels, training levels. Mm-hmm. So everybody was just so nice because it was an out and back. When people were doing their loops, they were all like, "You got this," and "How you doing?" And I met a girl named, shout out to Jordan, who is actually in Fort Myers, and she was wearing Brooks, and I was admiring her Brooks. And you know how we feel about the Brooks addictions and
love the shoes.
Yes.
Not a sponsor.
Could be.
Though you could be.
Could be. Anyway, I admired her, and she goes, "Oh, you really need to go to Fleet Feet and have them map and scan your feet."
Ooh.
And I guess they're out in Fort Myers at the Bell Tower, which is a local mall, outdoor mall. And she said, "Yeah, you should come out there and then do some of the events, some of the evening runs that are there that are like, we're getting ready for a Cinco de Mayo one with Cantina Laredo and doing some Mexican food, margaritas and running." And I was like, "Ooh, yeah, yes." So shout out to Jordan. She did the 10K. And Larissa is somebody that I met at the finish. She was taking video of me finishing because I had my phone going, and I was like, and people were clapping. It's just like the volunteers and the other runners who were finishing ahead of me were like so friendly and so much. So they're all applauding, and she's taking film. She's taking her iPhone, and I was like sporting the sparkle skirt, part of the Sparkle Squad. Anna Runs on Coffee. Shout out to you. And also Positively Poly One, JoJo. I'm doing tutus all the time, or running skirts like that. So I had my phone going, and I was filming, and I have the tiger in my ear, and I was just having my hands up. And she said, "Oh, I got such a cute video of you crossing the finish line. Let me send it to you." And so she did. And while we were trading, one of the volunteers who was passing out the snacks, pretzels, Rice Krispie squares, granola bars.
Oh, that's nice at the end of the race.
Yeah.
Instead of a free banana.
No bananas, actually. No bananas. All of those things, and granola bars, if I didn't say that before, and water. And they had little iPad minis set up so that you could enter your bib number and check your times. And one of the volunteers was like, "Why don't you check your bib number and see if you got an age group award or something?" And I was like, "Oh no, trust, I walked the whole thing. I passed, people passed me a number of times. I met Larry and Betsy and their dog and all of these other dogs that were on the trail having a beautiful day walk out there in a park. But yeah, no, I'm fairly certain I'm your last finisher. So and she's, "Oh, no." And she entered my bib number, and she says, "Yeah, you got an age group award." And I was like, "Are you really? Okay."
I saw your post on social media for that. I'm like, that's cool.
So that was fun. And and the age group award is almost like one of your tie tacks.
Yeah.
It's a
like a magnetic bar.
Yeah. So you could pin it too.
I think it's meant to go on the ribbon.
Yeah.
However, looking at your medal, which by the way, for a 5K, they give you some good bling. And, and it's huge.
It's a lucky horseshoe.
A golden horseshoe.
And that part is metal and gold. And then there's a coaster. It's meant to be a coaster, which says Time to Paddy and has the clover and says 5K, 10K, and Lucky 13.1. And it's got a gold and green Time to Paddy ribbon.
Yeah, and the what I like about it is on the back of the medal, it's got the coaster has like little rubber feet. It's
legit. It's a coaster.
It's a neat little medal. That is super cool.
So you could take, because you have the Velcro, you could take the ribbon off.
Yeah.
And then just use it as a coaster. Or you could you could keep the ribbon with the age group award, which is silver.
Oh, what I was going to say is I think that the magnets are just not, and they need to be a little stronger.
Maybe.
Because that's a nice ribbon that they put on that. It's nice and thick.
Yeah, it is.
And the magnet doesn't really stick quite as much as you would like.
And it just says age group award.
There you go.
On it. So adjust. But I was like, oh my goodness, this is like the second time in my entire running life that, and I'm sure that I'm the very last of the awards in that particular age group. Because as we all know, I've crossed over.
However, you're now an award-winning runner.
I'm an award-winning runner, y'all.
So there.
I love their little bib, their chip-timed bib, and it's...
this is different. I think this is the first time that we've seen a race done by Body's Race Company.
Yes.
And nice Tyvek bib.
Uh-huh.
It's a small bib.
It is, but it doesn't have to be huge, really.
No, but chip time, that's super cool. And then they gave you a cute shirt, although it is definitely cotton.
It's cotton. I'm not going to be wearing it to run.
Not to run in.
Especially in the summer months that are coming to you.
Coming soon.
Coming to the runners near you, ASAP. We can't stop it.
But it's a Kelly green shirt that says, "Who needs luck with all this charm?" And it's got a bunch of pink hearts, orange stars, yellow moons, green clovers, blue diamonds. Yeah. It's got all those little icons around it. It's very cute.
It is. And now it makes me want Lucky
But it's not like a real race shirt. Like you would expect, where you have all of the company sponsors on the back and all that. It's less racy.
And because it was a park type run, I mean, they had beast pacing, and they also had a connection where you could give to a charity, Rosedale International, and they try to reach youth overseas. So I just thought it was a very well put together event. They had an announcer that was right at the finish, and as you were coming across, they would announce you, that person would announce you. And also, he was also, as you finished, you could look up on the iPads, and if you could collect the award. It wasn't like a award ceremony proper, but I thought that was cool. So you didn't have to wait.
Right. We've been to races where you have to wait for a ceremony after everyone's done.
If you're super fast, you could be there a while.
Yeah.
Because I'm super slow. So
but you're still an award-winning runner.
Happy about that.
So all in all, your experience, would you do this race again? Would you recommend it?
I would. And I think that there are several different races throughout the year at that location. You could, I think there might be one in April coming. Same kind of thing, same situation, different theme. So if you were, like we said, doing the Punta Gorda Airport and Allegiant and the Sunseeker, and you just wanted something different, then you could definitely have a runcation there.
Nice.
So that's
very cool.
Just something different, something to consider.
We will have links in the show notes for this race event, and I believe they'll probably link off to some of their others that they do throughout the year. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be on runsignup.com, and check that out in the show notes. But once you're done with the run, of course,
there's food and beverage, but really, okay, we had a delayed celebration of St. Patrick's Day because it was on a weekday and all of that. I guess you could say there's a tongue twister coming.
I can see you thinking.
You could say, I decided to sleep in on the Sunday after the staycation, runcation-ish weekend.
Uh-huh.
The morning after the race, I'm not saying that there was not food and beverage and indulgence and exploration and that kind of thing. But of course, you know me. And if you follow us at runningdrink.net, you go to our social media channels. We love coffee.
Oh, yeah.
We would never be without it in the morning, but I also reached for Magic Mind the morning after. And I feel like that has been consistently the thing that has been keeping me in the game at work and as I start to ramp up the training with Jeff. So it's a great addition to the coffee. Don't have to give up the coffee. And I like that it's not just a quick fix.
Now, I use Magic Mind for my mid-afternoon pick-me-up. So for me, it's all about coffee in the morning. And then after, my app says I should stop doing caffeine by 11. I'm not always good at that. Rise Sleep. Not a sponsor. Magic Mind, however, is my afternoon pick-me-up. And it's your adaptogenic mushrooms. It's your matcha. It's everything that gives you that lift and that clarity without the anxiety that caffeine can induce, and without the detrimental effects on sleep later on, because I've been trying to work really hard on my sleep discipline.
And so I've been taking Magic Mind in the morning consistently. And I also got their now sleep shots. Yes, they're sleep performance shots, which also have lavender. They're natural ingredients that have been vetted and tested. And I like that calming influence of lavender and the magnesium. What do you say? Glycinate or glycinate?
Yeah.
Tomato.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is something that we were taking as a supplement before getting the Magic Mind sleep
performance shots. They look like that purple color of lavender. And they're the same size as the morning shots that we have, the performance shots that get us going or sustain us without having the caffeine dip in the day. So I'm so happy that they have expanded into the arena to make it just a well-rounded program for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's almost like bookending your day right. So I
look at it as the right tool at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't feel groggy in the morning. I feel good going to sleep at night. And because I feel like sleep is important. Yes. Work, life, but also in training as we do it.
Oh, absolutely.
We do have a limited time offer thanks to Magic Mind.
Yes. Who is kind enough to sponsor this week's episode of the Run Eat Drink podcast. Their offer gets you up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off of a one-time purchase with code REDPOD. That's REDPOD at checkout. And you know what? I get it. Like people go, oh, subscription. Oh, here we go. No, try it for the first. Do a one-off.
Yeah.
Do that.
You could do the 20% off.
Get the 20% off. Give it a shot. If you don't like it, which you're going to like it.
I think, yeah. Especially if you try the gummies too that are like that green apple situation. Love that.
I like the texture on those. It's a little different.
Yeah.
But their stuff, give it a shot. I'm pretty confident that everyone listening, if you order and you try it, use that 20%, then do your subscription, get up to 48% off for that first subscription.
So you can go to magicmind.com/redpod20 or at magicmind.com, you can enter the code RED, RED pod, POD. And we thank Magic Mind for sponsoring this week's show.
We'll have a link in the show notes. So let's talk food because, again, all this talk of running did make me work up an appetite. And,
sure.
And when you said you were coming home from the race, I was a little surprised. I'm like, oh, coming home early. I knew where we were going to end up when you told me you were doing the race
for the meal.
For the meal.
Of course.
I knew where we were going to end up. So you had to come back home, do some stuff for work.
Yeah.
And then later on, we had to go back to Punta Gorda.
Oh.
For
we got
the meal.
to.
Had to.
It was essential. I'm going to tell you because.
Well, Punta Gorda Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, I can remember when I was a kid growing up there because my mom, my dad, my sister, and we were there when I was in elementary school. Yeah. And it's grown up a lot.
Oh, yeah. They've got such a neat little downtown area. And really, since 2004, it's had a bit of a resurgence. And there have been neat businesses and restaurants and bars and hotels that have gone in there. And one that's been a mainstay for many years is the Celtic Ray Public House.
Since 1997.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 2004 is a big year. That's the year that Hurricane Charlie hit and devastated Punta Gorda and Port Charlotte.
Oh.
So they've managed to survive.
That park was right there by Punta Gorda Middle School and Charlotte High School,
Which are all brand new.
Yeah. And just to see how that has rebuilt is just wonderful to see.
Yeah, it really is. And this place has been a mainstay for downtown Punta Gorda, like you said, since 97. And it's known for having fantastic traditional Irish food.
Oh, yes.
And being really traditional Irish pub in terms of what it offers. And it didn't disappoint. So
now,
let's talk food.
When you get there, they have a lot of outdoor seating. They have 2 levels.
2 levels, big outdoor patio area. That's where they'll allow smoking outside. Indoors is more traditional, dark wood, darker colors, stained glass, really good pub feel.
Atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exposed brick.
And then they have a chalkboard up there behind the bar, and you come up and you order at the bar. And we sat at the bar, which I loved, and had good conversation with the bartenders. And we started with a Scotch egg.
Scotch egg, that's usually done as a soft boiled egg that's then wrapped in sausage and then breaded and then deep fried so that it cooks all the way through.
So good.
And it's traditionally served with a mustard dipping sauce.
Oh.
And that's exactly the presentation that we got.
Is that like whipped, that mustard sauce? I don't know, but it was like the consistency of a mayo.
It's more like an aioli. It's like an aioli with a coarse ground mustard.
Oh, so good.
Whipped into it, yeah.
It was so good. And I like how it was divided up, like it was split
Little wedges.
Little wedges, yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's a very traditional dish. It's certainly not light by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one of those things you can get here at this pub along with the other amazing pub traditions that they have.
It's shareable. I like that that's shareable. And that was the first plate that came out with their soda bread.
Yeah.
And
you get a slice of soda bread with, I think with everything that we got a slice of soda bread.
Yes.
And then you could actually get a separate side of soda bread if you wanted.
Glorious.
So they're making it fresh in house. And it was nice and dense. Just a wonderful texture. And you get that hint of soda in the bite after you swallow. It's so good. And it... They just a great job with it.
Look, you can have you have to call ahead, but you can have a loaf.
You can have them make a loaf for you?
Yes,
that's awesome.
Yes.
You know what? If you're wanting to get it for St. Patrick's Day and you didn't want to bake it yourself, I could totally see doing that.
Totally.
So,
I am just saying. Yeah.
So we started with the Scotch egg, which I'm a big fan of. Who doesn't like sausage and eggs? So give that a shot if you've never had one.
It's so good. I know people feel like people who feel a certain way about eggs. They just don't like them. But I love them in all their forms.
I think they're hard to beat. And it's, in terms of, especially if you're looking for counting your macros and all that, eggs are one of the healthiest things you can get. Great for protein. Yeah. Sausage, great for protein. Yes, you're going to get your fat in there, but that's okay.
So good. What else was good? It was really hard to choose.
We almost ended up getting the same thing, but at the last minute I zigged. So you ended up with the fish and chips.
Oh, I did. Oh. And what was so sometimes when we go to Disney, it's tilapia.
If you go to Epcot and you go to the Rose and Crown, which is their Irish or their English pub.
Yes.
Not Irish. Their English pub there, right next door is their fish and chip stand. The fish and chip stand there is
I love it.
tilapia that is beer battered, fried, and then served with chips or French fries.
French fries. Really thick cut.
If you go inside to the Rose and Crown, they serve Atlantic cod or black cod. And that, so you get a higher quality fish inside. That said, I'm a big fan of the fish stand. They do a great job out there. So you can't go wrong. So when you ordered this, I was like, ooh, how is this going to compare to either of those?
Right.
And what'd you think?
Oh, so it's all of it on their menu. Icelandic cod. It was so flaky. It wasn't fishy. The breading adhered to it perfectly. It was served piping hot. I mean,
Fresh out of the fryer.
They were on it all night long with every table that we saw them running food.
They were serving a lot of food.
You get 2 big pieces.
Yeah, you had a lot of fish on your plate.
Somebody who was not that hungry could split it
Easily. Oh, yeah.
Or I guess if you wanted to try more of the menu, you could not necessarily start with the Scotch egg, but maybe start with this as an appetizer, or I don't know. But I just had to have, it was so hard to choose between that and the shepherd's pie.
Which is what I got.
Oh.
So their shepherd's pie was really nice. They did traditional rough mash of the cold cannon potatoes for the top layer. And then the bottom layer, of course, was your mincemeat, or in this preparation, it was beef with that spiced gravy and carrots, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Meaty.
And they topped it with a sauce that has like a little sweet and sour kind of component to it, and it's called HB sauce.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is something I've seen in the international food aisle at our local grocery store. It comes in a bottle that looks like an A1 steak sauce bottle here in the States, but this is a sauce that's traditionally sold, or it's sold over in the UK.
Oh.
And they drizzled the top of the shepherd's pie with that. So you got this wonderful creaminess from the potato, but the potatoes were not whipped to the point where they had no texture. So they had some bite to them. You also had just wonderful, saucy, beefy bottom there that was perfectly spiced. And then you got this nice little, just a little bit of that sweet and sour from that HB sauce on top.
So good.
Yeah. They did a great job with that.
And the soda bread.
And then, of course, you get the soda bread with
magical. You got it with everything. And the malt vinegar is there with you at the table, wherever if you're at a table or at the bar.
Malt vinegar is more for the fish than the shepherd's pie. But yes, I agree.
Yeah, but for the fries and for the...
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's hard to beat.
So stinking good. We didn't stop there.
No.
We really didn't.
No.
Because
we had dessert as well.
We could have stopped there.
So in the course of conversing with our bartender, we learned that they have a Guinness ice cream there that is made at a local creamery right down the street just for them. So we order that. They bring it out with a couple of spoons for sharing, and it's in a crock like you would have French onion soup in. And they bring this ice cream out, and the ice cream's, it's not quite white. It's not really super dark. It's an off-white color.
I would say it looks like coffee ice cream.
A little bit like coffee ice cream.
Yeah, like that color.
And when you bite into it, that's the essence that I initially get.
Yeah.
And you said this reminds me of coffee ice cream, but as you swallow, it's at the very end you get the beer flavor.
Yes. It
lingers.
The
bitterness, a little bit of the hoppiness comes through at that point, and as much hoppiness as you get in a Guinness. It's more roasty malt notes that you get. But
that was really great to go with it. The Jameson's bread pudding.
That didn't suck.
Oh, so good. like just pieces of bread and this caramelly.
It's just slathered in this caramel with Jameson's Irish whiskey. And
so
baked,
good.
and it comes out, and it's just perfect. Literally every bite. And the edges of the bread pudding where it's been baked gets that real crisp caramelization.
So
And it's just crunchy on those crispy edges and soft on the inside.
So good.
It's ridiculous. So I, honestly, we didn't, and there was so much on this menu that we didn't even get to touch. They have an entire pasty menu.
I know it.
And
I
so
want
if
to
you're
go back.
in the mood for hand pies of all varieties, you could find something to tickle your fancy there. And then they, of course, had bangers and mash and you name it.
Listen,
their menu is ridiculous.
They said if you want to have a magical experience, you need to get the Guinness bacon cheeseburger pasty.
Yes.
Stuffed with fresh hamburger, aged Wisconsin cheddar, sauteed onions, thick applewood smoked bacon, simmered in Guinness beer cheese, served atop of it. Chips and soda bread. Okay. When are we going back?
I know, right?
Because it's all amazing. And I'm so happy that they're there. In fact, I think that they did a bar takeover, like a cocktail takeover at Nice Guys Pizza right after Hurricane Milton.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I get that same feel that they lift up. Like you said, the creamery down the road does their Guinness ice cream. So I get that same feeling from them that they lift up those around them, and it's like that with Nice Guy. That is here.
Nice Guys Pizza used to do beer shakes, and they got a Tahitian vanilla bean ice cream custom made for them for the purposes of making those shakes by a local company that's now out of business called Ice Screamin'. And they made that vanilla bean ice cream for them just for that. It was so delicious. Yeah, I love that they do that. I love that Celtic Ray is
So
making those
good.
local partnerships, and they're a fixture. And it's one of those, if you're going to fly into Southwest Florida, this is one of those must-do locations.
Oh, it's so good. It's just so good. I highly recommend.
Absolutely.
Highly recommend. Not only for the food.
No, they also might have a thing or two to drink on their menu.
Yes.
Let's talk drinks. Are we going to get creative and go outside of the bar, or are we going to stay right there at the Celtic Ray for beverages as well?
We're going to be at the Celtic Ray.
Exactly.
You know this.
Their beer selection is out of this world. They do some local things. They do some things that are domestic. They also have a great selection of traditional Irish pub beers that you would expect. Of course, you're going to have your Guinness. You're going to have your Smithwick's. You're going to have your Harp.
Kilkenny.
Your Kilkenny. Those are going to be there. But then they also had beer by Abita Brewing in Louisiana. And they had Schafferhofer, which is about as non-Irish as you could get.
Brown chicken, brown cow, brown ale.
That's the first beer that I had. Yes.
And I had not really heard of it. How did you like it?
This beer is made by, it's Escape Brewing Company in Trinity, Florida, 5% ABV. This is a traditional brown ale. And
lighter than like a heavier body,
than a stout.
Yeah.
Lighter than a stout. Really lighter than even a porter. This one was a little higher in terms of carbonation. 5% ABV is perfect for something that's nice and drinkable. This had really nice notes of toasted malt and a little bit of bitterness, but nothing too bad at all. And really enjoyed that one. That was my first drink of the evening there.
I had to have Strongbow and Guinness together.
Yeah, of course.
And it was beautiful and glorious.
And you might even see a photo of that in the episode artwork.
Possibly, or on our social media, because It's delightful, and they knew how to pour it. It was perfect.
They did make some very nice black and tans or variations on black and tans.
So there's like black and tan, and then there's black velvet, and then there are so many different.
And it was interesting. Their version of the black and tan, they used Guinness, and then they had an ESB that they were using instead of a harp or a bass ale.
I really enjoyed all of their different combinations. And even in the cider and Guinness situation, there was a Magners that I think was on tap. They let us try a little bit of it before we actually committed to.
They had the elderberry.
There was an elderberry, and I was like, oh, is it just going to taste really earthy?
Or perfumey.
Just like that floral, earthy, whatever. But no.
That was good.
It was more berry.
Yeah.
Really?
That one surprised me. I was expecting the same thing. I was like, this is going to be like perfume.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was delicious.
And I think their combinations and their bartenders' recommendations for how to do that interplay between a little bit of bitter, a little bit of dark with a little bit of sweet was just brilliant and perfect.
Yeah. And I think that their election to do that ESB and Guinness for their house version of a black and tan is a nice choice, because the Guinness actually smooths out the ESB and you don't get quite the bitter finish on it that you normally would. It ends up being a really drinkable black and tan.
I don't
Absolutely
know
great job.
And I'm going to tell you that their Irish coffee is no slouch either.
They do make a pretty good Irish coffee. They make a nice presentation there. They have what they call bar cream, which is slightly whipped cream, but not fully whipped cream. So it's
glorious.
It's squirtable from a...
Squirtable.
It is.
I love that.
In a squirt bottle.
I love it.
So they make the Irish coffee with the Irish whiskey and then top it with that. And it's just fantastic. And brown sugar. That was what their secret ingredient.
For sweetening. A little bit.
Yeah, just a phenomenal job all the way around.
It's a great place with great beer. They also have a wine, non-alcoholic beverages.
They do.
But we were there to celebrate belated St. Patrick's Day.
Exactly.
So we had to have the different beer combinations, and it was just a great way to celebrate. I walked a 5K, but it felt like such a victory. And to celebrate it with such flavorful dishes and
tasty beverages,
indulgent beverages, I couldn't have asked for a better weekend.
Oh, there you have it.
So good.
So we're going to have a link in the show notes to the Celtic Ray.
Oh, yes.
I believe they are at celticray.net. And
yeah.
we'll link there, but go check them out. For those of you that are going to be coming to Southwest Florida anytime soon.
For sure.
Celtic Ray is one that you really need to make sure is in your repertoire.
Oh, and it's right around the corner from Leroy's Southern Kitchen, I just have to say.
That's going to be for another episode, or
you could go back.
Previous episodes. We have certainly covered Leroy's in the past.
Yes.
So, yes.
So you could make a lovely evening of it.
But anyway, that is going to do it for this week's episode. We want to thank our friends at Magic Mind once again for sponsoring the show. Don't forget, we have a limited time offer for you, and you can use it right now. That gets you up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off of a one-time purchase with code REDPOD, REDPOD at checkout, or go to magicmind.com/redpod2020. Get that healthy boost with Magic Mind's mental performance shot and our discount code.
I can tell you, going to magicmind.com/redpod20, it's a small and simple addition to your daily routine that gets you focused, mentally clear, and motivated, as well as productive while reducing stress and getting your 100% of vitamin C and D per bottle.
Hard to beat that.
Hard to beat. Really, we can't say thank you enough for sponsoring this week's show. Thank you, Magic Mind, for giving the Runcation Nation this discount and us the opportunity to highlight something that really works for our fellow runners.
Yeah, we wouldn't be endorsing this if we didn't use it and believe in it. Thank you, Magic Mind, and thank you, Runcation Nation, for supporting them and thereby supporting us as well. That's going to do it, though, for this week's episode.
So thanks for joining us in 2025 on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, or wherever you are. I'm your host, Aimee.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you really soon.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.
That's a wrap. So thank you for joining us on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, wherever you are. I'm your host, Aimee.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you really soon.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.